Welcome to my channel where I do all things cosplay and especially convention horror stories. If you want to submit your own story, hit up my social media. And don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified, and hit like so that... Also check out my other social medias like Instagram and TikTok where I do all kinds of other wacky and crazy things. Hey Vivid, I've been watching your channel since the first time you started making Weeaboo horror stories, and I must say, it's truly been amazing to see how far you've come. I've got a story to share that's long, but also full of twists and turns, so I guess let's get this gravy train rolling. Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for sending in your story. To make it easier, I'll make a cast list so you don't have to keep explaining who's who. A is the Weeb, J is friend 1, L is friend 2, P is friend 3, E is P's girlfriend and friend 4, K would be Weeb's rival and friend 5, and me. This was back around 5 to 6 years ago, and 8th grade had just started. Now at the time, me and my friends were huge Italian nerds. Yeah, it's one of those stories. And we all had respected countries and we assigned to ourselves. I was Italy at the time, J was America, L was Canada, E was Japan, P was England, and K was Germany. Because of this, we had often found ourselves meeting up and doing random crap in character before and after school. It got to the point where I had my mom go online and get me an Hetalia book bag, one that lasted about a year and a half before I gave it to L, who was kinda into Hetalia but not as much as when we were younger. Time passed and eventually I had met A when halfway through the last quarter of the school year, when she had noticed my backpack and we began to chat about our favorite characters and episodes. We agreed to meet at lunch. Of course, our friend group had gained one new person. A considered herself to be Russia for a while and would even speak in a heavy Russian accent whenever doing so, but then things started to get weird. The more we all hung out, the more A began acting a bit off. She would constantly text us, wondering what we were all doing and if anyone would be willing to do anything, and while we were all fine with it at first, we soon all felt a bit weirded out by how much attention she wanted. Eventually, she began to go by America, which made Jay want to switch to Italy since her hair matched his more than it matched America, which caused me to end up switching to Spain. The whole change of character was really sudden, and a few of us ended up getting scolded by A whenever we incorrectly addressed her character, which wouldn't matter since a month or two later she started going by Prussia, which was luckily her final character change. But in all honesty, by her switching to Prussia is when things started to go into a downward spiral. A lived relatively close to my friend J at the time, and would often invite her and L over to her house. While the first visit seemed fine, J and L had later gone on to tell us that during another visit, A tried to get them to drink vodka that she had just found in her mother's freezer. J and L, not wanting to seem rude or deal with any of A's temper tantrums, decided to try a sip and inevitably burnt their mouths on the intense alcohol. A also wanted them to try some prune juice, but both ended up ultimately refusing. Later that night, when they were going to sleep, A only had 2 beds, hers and a spare that was the size of a solo person twin mattress. J ended up taking the solo, while L was stuck having to sleep with A, who was not subtle over the fact that she had a crush on L. Every time we all hung out, A made it clear that they wanted to be around L and would even go as far as to randomly hug her or touch her hair or clothes. At first, we thought it would blow over or that she'd lose interest, but the minute A mentioned being a PruCan shipper, we felt extremely uncomfortable. The more A stuck around, the more we just saw how nasty they'd end up being. Whenever anyone disagreed with her, she'd throw a temper tantrum and even get physical, which caused Kay to end up hating her absolute guts. Kay was a fan of a lot of different game franchises, one of them being League of Legends. One day she ended up telling me something while me, her, and A were all in gym. And A said something along the lines of, "Games like that suck. Wouldn't you want to play something better and not as shitty?" To which K began basically saying, "I like the game. That's all that matters, yeah?" In which A responded by punching her in the arm and saying, "Don't be stupid." After that, A and K were almost like flame and gunpowder. Anything one said could and would ignite the other, causing a lot of arguments between the two and the remainder of our friendship. Whenever we all texted each other, and we had Kik at the time, A would say something, and if anyone ignored her or disagreed or spoke over her, she'd leave our group only to ask seconds later to be added back. Over time, the physical attention to L, the constant bickering with K, and just the overall toxic energy that came off of this girl was bearing just too much on all of us. The last straw finally broke on Valentine's Day, near the end of our 8th grade school year. We all came home from this grand thing that my mom has taken us all to watch, and all of us began to split across my house to do whatever we really wanted. Me and Elle were chilling in my room because we were the sleepiest and we were going to take a quick nap. J, P, K, and A, however, were in the living room taking turns playing Just Dance on my Wii. J and P have always been known for being intense dancers, as neither of them would give up their remotes unless they were truly exhausted and dying of thirst. So of course, A began to get impatient and demanding that J and P give up their turns so she could dance. P said that A was going to have to wait until after their last song, and A threw something at her leg during the middle of the dance. I think it was a cardboard tube. Again, this was just what I heard from the retelling of the story. After the song ended and the preview for the next song came on, and it was one of Jay's favorites. Most HetaBoos know this song not for the original, but because of the memes and the parodies. The song was Shine Bright Like a Diamond. Jay immediately hit continue, and the next thing she knew, A began to just have another temper tantrum. She began whining loudly about how it's not fair and how you said after the last song I could have my turn, stop playing. And Jay, being known to be quite the trickster, turned around and in a playful voice just muttered, "No." Me and Elle suddenly jolted awake. A had opened the door in an angry rage, and the door ended up slamming into my closet. We groggily asked what was going on, and A simply replied that I'm grabbing my things and leaving. As she stormed out, me and Elle quickly followed behind to see her slamming the front door of all of my friends and my concerned grandmother. I ran to my mom's room to tell her what had happened, and instantly her and Jay ran outside since they were the fastest, hopped in the car, and sped down the street looking for A since her home was really far, and walking all the way there would have been an extremely stupid idea. When all three gone home, Jay and A waited outside for A's mom, while the rest of us were still confused as to what happened. When Jay came back inside, we all knew what we had to do. Kay was the first one on it, texting A privately and telling her that she couldn't hang out with us anymore, especially not after the way she treated us. One by one, we get messages from A begging and pleading us that she didn't mean anything and that it was just all a big mistake. One by one, in response, we just refused to let her hang out or call us her friends. She, of course, started guilt-tripping us, saying how, without us, she just wants to die, and how she's so alone, and how no one to hang out with, and we all knew to let her manipulate all of us like that. In the end, I was left the last half of 8th grade to switch to homeschooling, and to summarize the rest of what happened is kind of bizarre. I'd constantly get texts from the rest of the group telling how A is still trying to squeeze her way back into us, and how she'd shoot them all death glares during lunch, or even how she'd try to bully us into adding her back into the friend group. Eventually, she just stopped. No texts, no phone calls, no bullying or harassment. She had just given up and eventually made a new group of friends. We still make small jokes about her, even to this day. We just mention something and end up doing our best A impressions while laughing about it, and luckily we haven't met anyone like her since.
So you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much. Hit subscribe and even the bell icon as well, so you'll be able to see all of my other videos whenever they go and are uploaded. Thank you so much. It all means so much to me as well. Thank you.